I am Mun.
And I am Ray.
That's right, we're back again.
Yes.
New segment called Facts in Black. With this segment, we're going to give you black history.
Yes.
Information that needs to be informed to our brothers and sisters.
Definitely.
Things that we found out just now, and some of you all may already know, and some of y'all may not know.
And nothing that we learned in school.
Trust and believe that.
Yeah.
That's right. I have a question before we get into it. Is it whose responsibility is it to learn about our history? Is it the school's responsibility or is it our responsibility?
It's our responsibility.
Then you can't blame the schools no more than that, can we? But you can give the schools some form of
leeway.
Some
to let them know.
Yeah, let them know that you know something. You talk about American history, but you don't talk about our American history.
Right. We need to learn more than those 5 black people that y'all talk about every year in every school.
You can hold them somewhat accountable because, yes, they can give you some kind of opening to where you can start looking to find out more about yourself or what's going on. But honestly, black history comes from the family. It should start from home.
Yes.
So mothers, fathers, sit your children down and let's go.
Definitely. And they did give us a little bit of leniency by turning the word slave into indentured servant. Thanks for that.
Appreciate it. Well, before we go, we're going to just jump right on into it. Okay.
All right.
Our first fact in black. A. PhilipRandolph and Pullman porters.
Okay. What are they?
Former slaves who worked on Pullman porter sleeping car trains.
Okay.
And they traveled across the country, major cities, Chicago, Boston, New York. And after the Civil War, they were actually employed between the years of 1868 to 1968. An estimated 20,224 porters were employed. Now, why is this so much? Why is this so important, Monday, you may ask?
Why is this so important?
Well, because the Pullman porters were all black men. And George Pullman was a white man who founded the company, the Pullman porter sleeping cars. Okay. And these sleeping cars, they pretty much they served the wealthy. And the wealthy, white wealthy, were accustomed to being served. Being served by whom? Black folks. Yes. George Pullman, also founder, only hired African American men who were former slaves.
Why?
Because he believed that they made better servants. You can treat them any kind of way you want, not pay them fair wages. Pretty much, they would do anything. There is a story that I came about where one Pullman got down on his hands and knees and barked like a dog only because the little boy, white boy, was crying. And he didn't want to stop crying. So the mother asked the porter to get down on his hands and knees like a dog and bark so their son could stop crying.
And he did it.
Because if he didn't do it, he would have been fired.
Yeah. You don't want the alternative.
Yes. The Pullman porters, they had to work a minimum of 400 hours a month. I want you to understand what that means. That means 400 hours a month. It's only 40 hours in a work week, in my understanding.
Right.
They were working 100 hours a week. 20 plus hours in a day. Only 24 hours in a day.
And they worked most of it.
And they were only paid between wages of $60 to $72 on a monthly basis. No benefits.
No money. No life.
So pretty much, and we're talking about from 1868 to 1968, 100 years of this kind of this kind of treatment. Now, A. PhilipRandolph, who we spoke of first, he organized the very first all-black union. He unionized the porters.
Okay.
Called them the Brotherhood of the Sleeping Car Porters.
Okay.
Pretty much, he argued for fair wages, not try to get them some kind of benefit, some kind of retirement plan. Things were going on at that point in time, and he just wanted to be treated as men. To be treated as men.
That's horrible when you have to petition for that to happen.
Have to ask to be treated as a man.
And people have to actually think about treating you as a man. Are you serious? Like, it's happening now, though.
Yeah.
It is.
But now, I'm also going to give you another fact. That it's a movie on YouTube. It came from Showtime, the cable channel. It's called 10,000 Black Men Named George. I found it very interesting, so I checked it out, my wife and I. And it's definitely about the Pullman Porters.
Yeah. I had never seen the movie before. I'd never heard of the movie. But it was very interesting. It was a good movie. It was a great movie. But it was interesting learning this at almost 50 years old. And I never learned about it until I was almost 50 years old. Like, I had always heard of Pullman Porters, but I never knew the history of it. I never knew what they were, who they were. And I'm glad that I know. And thank you for showing me that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yes. And when we say treated, and they were saying to be treated as men, the majority of the porters, they called them George.
Call them George.
They didn't call them their names.
Didn't even bother to learn them.
They called them George. My father, rest in peace, he told me of a time when he worked for a tobacco company. And he could have been no older than maybe 20, 21 years old. He got out of Vietnam, I believe, and educated. He went to North Carolina Central, he and my mother. But he said working for the tobacco company. So they gave you 5 names. Sam, Willie, Leroy, Boy, and Nigger. I'm going to say that again. This is my father. This is a piece of history that my father told me. He said when he was working for a tobacco company in North Carolina, black men were given 5 names. Sam, Willie, Leroy, Boy, Nigger.
Wow. And that's not that far.
No.
That's not that far back.
No, it's not. See, we can sit here and we can talk about, even with this situation, you got 100 years. You know somebody 50. You know somebody 60.
Yeah.
You know somebody 70. So when we sit here and talk about history with 50 and 60 or 70 years happened beforehand, that's not that long ago.
It really wasn't.
Seriously, look at it just look at it for real. It's not that long ago. So next time you hear about something that's going on, maybe happened 50, 60 years ago, don't you dare sit here and say it was a long time ago. That's way over. No, it's not.
Because it still affects us today.
Right now, these men on the Pullman Porters, they were paid with tips. They were always getting paid a terrible wage. They were always getting paid with tips. And tips is how they pretty much accommodated or what they weren't making. They weren't getting any benefits. You're talking about working $400 a month.
And most of these men had wives and children.
And they ain't talking about one kid.
Right.
We talking about children.
Wasn't no birth control back then.
Yeah. Now, I mean, yeah.
Crazy.
And yes, we can sit here and talk about how back then a monthly apartment, because we did the figuring back in 1868, it said a monthly rent for an apartment was maybe around $50. Okay.
But still, when that's all you're making, and you have a family to take care of, you can't get sick.
Yeah.
And if you are sick, you have to work sick, and you can't let the boss know that you're sick.
Yeah, because he'll send you home.
Yeah.
But see, this is what I'm talking about. And we can take it back to slavery. Do you know slaves had to work whether they were sick or not, whether they was handicapped or not? Do you know slaves used to actually want to have, when they were pregnant, they wanted their children to come out with a birth defect so they wouldn't be slaves?
That's crazy.
They prayed for birth defects.
That's crazy.
And at any given time, your child, after you gave birth to your child, the master could come along and take your child away. And you'll never see your child again.
I can't fathom living in that era. I know what I know now. I can't fathom going through that. But of course, you always have those people that say, that couldn't have been me.
I wouldn't have done that. You crazy as a mother.
You'd have been dead.
Yeah, whatever.
You'd have been dead.
You know, it's amazing what you won't do when you're not dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
this is just a fact in black that we're giving you about the Pullman Porters and A. PhilipRandolph.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, you can check the movie out. It's on YouTube. It's
Yes.
called 10,000 Black Men Named George. It is a powerful movie, so
Yeah.
please check it out. Charles S. Dutton is in it. Mario Van Peebles is in it. And the gentleman that plays A. PhilipRandolph is Andre Browder.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, it is a must-see.
Yes.
Sit down with your kids, please.
There's actually a link in the description box.
Yes, indeed.
So you can check it out. No
Yes.
excuses. And if there's any black fact that you would love for us to talk about, let us know. Leave that in the comment section and we got you covered.
Yes, indeed. Once again, I'm Mun.
And I'm Ray. That's our time. We thank you for yours. See you in the next video. Peace.
Peace.
Ray.